Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vatarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Beta Vibhakine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukaro Anthakaro Vairukarastanni Vartakaha Anthakara Nirodhitvad Gururitya Vidhiyate Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvidavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate Samprapte San Nihite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane. Verse number 29. We already finished 29, so we'll go to 30. Pranayamam Pratyaharam Nitya Nitya Viveka Vicharam Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam Purvavadhanam Mahadavadhanam. Once more. Pranayamam Pratyaharam Nitya Nitya Viveka Vicharam Prana Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam Kurvavathanam Mahadavadhanam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. So we are in the last two verses of Bhaja Govindam. Adi Shankara has given 31 verses, which verses have the gist of Vairagyam, Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekam, and also the Dehatma Buddhi, the Aropanam, superimposition on a fact, and it is considered something other than what it is. So based on that superimposition, what are the common mistakes committed by the human being and how he get indulged in samsara, how he will get locked, not knowing the way to come out of this death and birth cycle. He pointed out all these things through his 29 verses. In the last two verses, especially in the 30th verse, which we are going to see right now, he just emphasizes or restate the sadhanas, the tools to be used in order to gain the liberation, what we call moksha. Once the readiness is there, it's very easy for the knowledge to take place. So, Shankara Bhagavad Padar wants each and every human being to focus on the real goal. And by certain disciplines, what we call spiritual disciplines, sadhanaha in Sanskrit, through that, as a process, step by step, from the human being, he wants to convert the person to his real fact by getting the knowledge, by receiving the knowledge. So, in order to remove all the erroneous notions, what we call Jiva Buddhi, the base of an error is Ajnanam, ignorance. What ignorance? Not knowing the real thing. So, Bhagavad Padar, Shankara Bhagavad Padar, is pointing out in the 30th shloka about the readiness, the preparatory steps, the prerequisites of a seeker. Without any compromise in the life, one needs to perform all these preparatory steps in order to reach the ultimate goal of a human being. He emphasizes in the readiness of a human being to receive the knowledge. In the 30th shloka, which already he stated several times in different slokas. Before the conclusion of the verse, what we call Bhaja Govindam or Moha Mudgaram, he wants to emphasize the disciplines which are to be followed, which are to be performed by the seeker, spiritual seeker. That is what he told in the 30th shloka. Because remember that when the soil is completely ready to receive the seeds, by some preparatory steps, adding the pH value in the normal position, adding some fertilizers according to the seed which we are going to sow in that soil, producing the necessary water, getting the climate conditions which are ready to meet with the soil. All these things, if we are prepared, then it's very easy for a cultivation of the respective seed or respective crop. The preparatory in each and everything, yogyata, the qualification of the spiritual seeker is very important. In anything, without the preparation, without the qualification, you go and have a competition or an attempt to do something, it will end up in tragedy more than the failure. You may not receive the medal or you may not win. That's okay, but you may end up in tragedy. For example, there are called weightlifting in each and every game. You take some weights and put in your shoulders and lift it. You cannot do at once. Immediately when somebody says, months and months of practicing and doing regular exercises, which are the complements, which are the supplements to lift certain amount of weight. That practice only make you to lift the respective weight and to win the medal. Suppose you are not ready with your body. You didn't do any practice to lift certain amount of weight. And you came to a tournament and you are in the stage right now and the judges are ready to evaluate your performance. You just lift the weight and you may take the weight in an inappropriate way or inappropriate manner. You may end up with certain issues regarding the body, or the backbone will get struck, or some other issues. Similarly, in each and everything, the preparatory steps, the prerequisites are important. So Shankara wants each and every spiritual seeker to do certain sadhanas as their preparatory steps in their life in order to receive the knowledge from a traditional teacher. So in this verse, he is emphasizing the preparatory step. Whole thing of the shloka is meant on Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga. 8 steps which can turn the human being, which can convert the human being to the immortal Atma. That preparatory steps are being mentioned in this shloka. First, I will give the explanation of Ashtanga Yoga and the preparatory steps. The Ashtanga means 8 limbs, 8 steps, Ashtanga. Through the 8 steps, one human being will get elevated to the human goal, what we call Atma, the immortal conscious being. From the death and birth cycle, who is subject to suffering and pain, from that standpoint, that life form is elevated through 8 steps to the immortal consciousness. That is called Ashtanga Yoga in a simple way. And it's not a 1-hour class. Ashtanga Yoga is a topic which one need to deal hours and hours. And to understand properly, one need to act upon it for a length of 12 or 15 years. Still, this shloka is talking about Ashtanga Yoga. I need to give you. What are the 8 steps which will take the human being to the form of immortal conscious being, eternal consciousness? Those steps are like this: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyanam, Samadhi. Ashtanga Yoga. Patanjali Maharshi, a famous sage before 10,000 or 20,000 years ago, he wrote this book, which is also used by the spiritual seekers, and they practice daily in their daily life. What is called Yama Niyama? Total control over the external organs and also about regarding the mind. This is called Yama and Niyama. I'm just giving an overall definition. I am not going to deal with Ashtanga Yoga, because here all the Ashtanga Yoga topics are being slightly given by that. Yama and Niyama. What is not to be done? one should not have the pressure with the external organs and also with the mind. That is called yama niyama. You will get the total control on the external organs and also with the mind only based upon a diet. So diet or the food, what you take, what you consume, will take the main role in controlling your senses in and out. Remember that. Asana, certain postures of the body, which can help an individual to stay back in one single posture with a certain amount of concentration towards the topic or a subject matter. Suppose, for example, if you are dealing with a Lord's face and you want to concentrate on the Lord's face with your mind, to sit in a posture and concentrate on that face, you can do if you practice, if you are enough practiced yogasana. Mostly 84 postures are there, and they are extended in different other postures also, which will be helpful, completely connected with the subtle body. Mind get matured, totally maturity for the mind. Yogasana is meant for the maturity of the mind, for the stability of the mind, for the purification of the mind. All other benefits are secondary, that your body will be in shape. You can feel certain reliefs from the diseases and from the cramp or whatever it may be. But mostly asana, means yogasana, is meant for a human being to sit in one single posture and can focus on a subject matter for a length of time. It can be for 24 hours, it can be for 3 days. You can sit in one single posture if you have enough practiced asana under a guided teacher. That is called the third step of the Ashtanga, asana. Pranayama, restraining, controlling, restricting the inhale and exhale, what we perform in our daily life through the vital air. Because the prana, the vital air, is connected with the mind. The control over the prana will lead to the control on the mind. This is the basic logic. So, through pranayama, one control the vital air going inside the body and also vital air going outside the body. Through that, one's mind can also be controlled properly. This is called pranayama, simply. Pratyaharam, retrieving, withdraw the senses from the external object because of the base of discrimination and also because of the base of what is to be achieved and what I am doing, the connection being missing. If one have enough maturity to see the misconnection between the enjoyment in the external objects are not the main role to be performed in my life, but I have to go through the real path which will reach my goal. So all my life, my senses being extroverted, I will be enjoying the external things when they come into contact with my senses. But pratyahara restricts the individual by giving the maturity to give up certain things, by pointing out the defects and the sufferings which can bring by the external things to our life. Pratyahara is a science to give up certain things in our life for the sake of reaching the moksha. That is the fifth step, withdrawing the senses from the external object. Pratyahara. Dharana. The knowledge about the light, the consciousness, which is the dweller, indweller of each and every individual. Knowing that consciousness from a real teacher, traditional teacher, one should focus on that indweller, which is the locus of creation. That is called dharana. Dhyanam and samadhi, 7 and 8. Dhyanam, practicing to focus on this jyoti, the light which is the locus of the creation, which is also the performer of the actions which are going on the body, by whose presence our body is sentient and performing different actions. On that consciousness, daily one is getting into touch. Dhyanam. And after that, samadhi. Just giving up the old worldly activities, and you are one with the consciousness. You are no more as an individual. Like a river resolves in the ocean, and the river is no more any in the life. It's an ocean now. Similarly, focusing on the consciousness, and a person goes deeply to the mind and see the Swayam Jyoti, which is self-effulgent consciousness, and staying back again and again for a length of time. And you are a new individual now for the people. You don't know what is going on in the external world. You only know the self-effulgent Atman. That's called samadhi. These things are disciplines for a spiritual seeker, and Shankara mentioned partially. Pranayamam pratyaharam, the first line. Pranayama means restraining the vital air, which is going inside and coming outside the body. It will help the person to have a control over the mind and ideas regarding the world and people. Pratyaharam, just now I told you, withdrawing the senses from the external things. Nitya nitya vastu viveka vicharam. We already know in Tattva Bodha the prerequisites. In that, first it will come Nitya nitya vastu vivekaha. Knowing what is the true and what is unreal. So, discriminating what is real and what is unreal. Atma is the only thing which is the truth and the fact, and all other things can come under the one topic called Anatma, the names and forms. Everything will fall under that. So, after studying under a traditional teacher, one will be more discriminative. Then one can easily separate what is Atman, what is Anatma. Muncha dishikam iva drishya vargau. Shankara says in Viveka Chudamani. Like a weed which we see normally in the grass fields. It's called a munja. From this grass weed, you take the middle stump without getting hurt yourself, because this grass have a capacity to hurt your hands because it's very sharp. Similarly, one need to discriminate what is the real and what is from the unreal things. The verily world will attract you, but it is unreal and it is anatma. From them, the base, that which make all others to charm, that sentient thing, that self-effulgent, self-evident atma, you need to separate, discriminate. We saw in Tattva Bodham, Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, one prerequisite. Shankara emphasized all these things one need to study under a traditional teacher and to perform daily in their life. And go, after studying all these, I prefer all Ashtanga Yoga one need to study, at least one need to know in this life. And also Japya. And also, he already mentioned about the Sahasranama, Gita, all these daily prayer. There is no amendment. One need to find out the time to do the prayers. Prayers have the capacity to unite our subtle body, which is scattered through names and forms. We are running behind different things in our life and it is very scattered. That will get coordinated. It will become united by prayers. Each and everybody feel insecurity somehow in the day-to-day life. That insecurity we can give up by praying the daily prayers. In which deity you feel to pray, taking that deity as your support and daily prayers. And also, Japya Sameta, Japya Nameta Samadhi Vidhanam. And Samadhi Vidhanam, I already mentioned you in the Ashtanga Yoga. Free from all names and forms, one needs to daily focus on this consciousness. One needs to find out some time in their daily routine. We are all busy with our things. We have different goals in our material life, but one needs to focus on their daily life. So the Samadhi, I already told you that Jiva is no more when you reach in Samadhi. Like Ramana Maharshi is told, Uppapavai Kinatil Pona Madri. The salt doll which is made of salt is been dipped inside the well with a rope. After 5 minutes, there is no doll at all. The whole salt is resolved in the well. Similarly, the mind which is going behind different names and forms are trained to withdraw from the names and forms and to focus on the one and only real fact. Thus, the mind is resolved in the consciousness. Whenever we say means continuous flow of thoughts, and each and every thoughts have two things, consciousness and a worldly name and form. If you remove the worldly name and form, the conscious only exists at all. So continuous form of thoughts means, a thought means it can divide into two, name and form plus consciousness. So in the Samadhi, after studying under a traditional teacher, one practicing yoga, pratyahara, etc., yama, niyama, etc., etc., one can easily focus on the self-effulgent Atman, Samadhi Vidhanam. May one study and practice in the daily life with the japa. And also, he always says, Kuru Avadhanam and Mahat Avadhanam. Avadhanam means a lot of protection, what you are doing. You have to protect yourself, not to go away from what you are practicing. People don't encourage you while you are practicing yoga or samadhi because they are not informed about the benefits of yoga or samadhi. I mean pratyahara. They are informed how much you can be kicked when you take alcohol. They are not informed what are the defects when you consume alcohol. So majority won't encourage you when you enter into as a spiritual seeker. That is why Kuru Avadhanam, may you protect yourself to do the things with a lot of Shraddha, attitude, with a lot of Bhavana. May one do regularly with care, because nobody is going to clap what you are doing. Nobody is going to encourage you. In fact, everybody is going to throw stones and cow dung and discouraging you when you are a spiritual seeker. They are going to laugh at you. That is why Shankara wants you, even though majority don't have idea what you are doing, which is very relevant, and for them, they even don't know the first letter of a spirituality. They will try to hold you and drag you from the spiritual pursuit towards their material pursuit, which will end up into a death and birth cycle. So he wants to say you, while you are practicing, there will be a lot of obstacles in your life in the form of relationships, in the form of fun and jokes, in the form of different material things. It can become a hindrance in your spiritual practices. But you cannot astray from that. You be stable, staying power. Puja Swamiji Dayananda says, to do the things with lots and lot of patience daily, without any compromise. If you want to weight loss, you have to work out 1.5 hours daily. Nobody is going to encourage you. Maybe the first day somebody will encourage you, do some exercise so that you can get a loss of weight, but not next day. So you have to practice daily 1.5 hours walking, jumping, skipping, doing some exercises with your hands and stomach, everything. Similarly, the spiritual practices also should be done, because this is something important connected to our ultimate goal. So Shankara says that may one practice the Ashtanga Yoga, which is being guided by a traditional teacher, which will be a tool, which is the means for the ultimate goal, with a lot of care and Shraddha. Of course, these are all prerequisites. Spiritual disciplines are always prerequisites. It will make one ready to receive the knowledge properly as it is from a traditional teacher. Of course, Tattvabodha gives 4 things, 4 prerequisites. Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, discrimination. Iha Amutra Palabhoga Virakaha, indifference towards the worldly things. You don't have any attraction towards the worldly things. Vairagya, Vivekam and Vairagya. Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi, 6-fold values which make the mind totally ready. Shamam, Damam, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. Idi Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, 6-fold values one needs to practice in one's life. The Shankara's another treatise, what we call Tattva Bodha, in that he he give properly with clean-cut explanation about each and everything. All these fourfold requisites. Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, discrimination regarding the real and unreal. Vairagyam, indifference, no interest at all towards the worldly things, because you got the maturity listening towards the things. They can give you lot of sufferings other than happiness. And also Shamadhi Shatka Sambhati. And Mumukshutva, the last. A person who has a keen desire to be free from all kinds of bondages. Muktum Ichuhu Mumukshuhu. Who having that nature is called Mumukshutva. Mumukshuhu. See, each and everybody want to be free from different types of obstacles and difficulties of their life. Everybody is a mumukshu, in fact. But all the bondages are due to the erroneous notion born out of ignorance. Ignorance is the main cause of each and every bondage. To eradicate the ignorance, to remove the ignorance, we need the right knowledge. So from the mumukshu, a person should become jijnasu. I should know what is the real cause of my bondages. Thus, Shruti comes into picture. The scriptures comes into picture in your life. Who am I? Am I a living being? My external gross body is real or unreal? Is there anybody to make all these things in my life? Even though I didn't do anything, I am miserable even now. All these answers, all these questions will be clear when you deal with the Shruti. Shruti means scriptures delivered by traditional teacher. Thus, Mumukshu should become Jijnasu, a seeker of knowledge. Everybody is a seeker of liberation, to be get freed from the all kinds of bondages. But from there, the Mumukshu should become Jijnasu. I always mention that. And here he gives, while you are doing the sadhanas in the spiritual pursuit, may one protect yourself not to stray from all kinds of attraction of the worldly things. May one give so much care what you are doing, because not so many people do what you are doing. They are interested in the external things to get the temporary happiness, but you are really focusing on the eternal happiness. That fruit is main and important. That result is important. If you miss now, the chances are slim then again to get in your life to achieve the ultimate goal. So one needs to make use of it if a person get a chance to study under a traditional teacher. Life is very compact. We know that. We can live almost 100 years or 200 years. In between, what are the things we have to deal with our life? And in between, one need to study the scriptures and get and know that you are free from all kinds of bondages which right now you are facing in your life. So this should be the main concern of a human being. That is being told. So may one give a lot of care and protection when you are doing the spiritual practices, because when you start a spiritual practices, when you start a spiritual practice, then only immediately certain obstacles will come right now. You just go to eat, sit somewhere and to want to meditate and a phone call will come. Similarly, the world will throw different types of obstacles, but you don't get astrayed. You don't get shaken by them. may one focus and do the spiritual exercises. That is the gist of this shloka. And now we will go to the last shloka. Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha Samsarat Ajirat Bhava Muktaha Sendriya Manasa Niyamadevam Drikshyasi Nija Hridayastam Devam. Once more. Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha Samsarat Achirat Bhava Muktaha Sendriya Manasa Niyamadevam Drikshyasi Nija Hridayastam Devam. The connection is there. If you practice the prerequisites, then that is being told in the third line. We will start from the third line of the last verse right now, what we have read. Sendriya Manasa Niyamadevam. After withdrawing all the external organs from the external things, Patma Patra Mibambasa. Bhakhendriyani Digrihya. Defeating, controlling, totally restraining the organs of the body. Mind is the head, and all five organs which are Jnanendriyam and all other five organs which are Karmendriyam, all are reporters. They bring the data and put inside the mind. Once we restrict, once we are under control, even though we say we can control, it's not very easy without any guidance of a traditional teacher. Each and everybody have different issues to control the mind. I always think about these things, Swamiji. How can I control my mind? I am always interested to do that thing, my mind. Whenever I see this thing, I get, I want to do that, this, that, Everybody have different types of issues related to mind, especially towards the material world that the mind will run up. We need a total guidance, a help of or a support of a traditional teacher. Indriya Manasa Niyama, after getting total control on the mind and senses, one will be ready to receive the knowledge properly. Doing the Ashtanga Yoga, Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyahara Dharana Dhyanam Samadhi Kurvan, one will be become Adhigari, a qualified person. Then somehow this all-pervasive Brahman, this consciousness, make the person to reach under the feet of Guru. Feet represents always the direction. Gati, because with the legs only we will walk to one direction, So feet represents the direction of the person. So now I will come to the first lesson. Once you are ready with all kinds of prerequisites and you are qualified, eligible person, once you become Adhikari, Guru Charanam Bhuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha, one will become a pure Jijnasu, a totally disciplined mind and totally disciplined body. If one is endowed with, then this all-pervasive Lord will take you to the right personality. Once you reach to that right personality, who is a traditional teacher, now he will take care of you by delivering the proper knowledge from the Vedas as it is. That is being told here. Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktava. That entity which is all pervasive will take you if you are ready. So, Adhikaritvam is important more than reaching a guru. Oh, I didn't get a guru means I am not an Adhikari. I have certain defects to be warded off. Once you are ready, this all-pervasive Lord will take you to the right person and he will deliver the notes. He will deliver the all-blessed knowledge. That is what been told here. Guru Charanam Bhuja Nirbhara Bhakti. A person will prostrate to the Guru in order to get the ultimate knowledge. How I will reach Guru? The qualification determines whether you will reach the right Guru or not. If you are unqualified, you will get an unqualified Guru. If you are totally qualified, you will get the best Guru in the world. So it's my work to reach a proper Guru through my spiritual practices and spiritual discipline. Once you have acquired all the spiritual disciplines in your life, you are going to get the appropriate Guru. You need not to worry. This all-pervasive Lord knows to where you have to be, to whom you should study, with whom you should study. Everything that will decide. Only thing we need to practice our daily spiritual disciplines and values. Guru Charanam Bhuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha. After reaching to that Guru, then what will happen immediately? He will give the knowledge regarding the real fact which is all pervasive. Atma Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam, the central theme of the Vedas and Vedanta. That will be delivered by him for a length of time. Then what will happen? Achirat, in a small samsarat ajirat bhava muktaha. This knowledge have the capacity to make you free from the death and birth cycle. Achirat means without any kala vilamba, without any late. Chiram, a long time. Achiram, in a short time. Without any lackness in time. Immediately, because when I say immediate means how much time it will take. In fact, if you are ready, it will take only 1 second. Like to remove the darkness, I should switch on the proper switch of the light. The light comes, the same second the darkness will goes away. Similarly, if you are ready, the knowledge will take place immediately and the apparent bondages, falsified bondages, fallacies about your worldly things, everything will vanish. It disappears. You have only the real fact in your mind. When the Guru delivers the right thing. Samsarat ajirat bhava muktihi. Freedom from all kinds of bondages. There is no death and birth cycle anymore. Once you are qualified, you will be reaching to the appropriate Guru and will be receiving the knowledge, and immediately one will be get freed. Shankara concludes like this, I already mentioned you, this third line I started, withdrawing the senses from the external world and the total control on the mind will make to reach the Guru. Then this person will go to the 9th factor, which is only told in Bhagavad Gita, Nididhyasanam. Ashtanga Yoga have only 8 steps. There is a 9th step called Nididhyasanam. Responding towards the world from the knowledge what you have received, your waking stage, the awakened stage. There are these states. The awakened state, Jagrata Avastha, how you will deal with the world. You will be responding towards world, people and things from the knowledge what you have received. This is called Nididhyasanam. Living with the vision. Living with the overall vision towards the world and people. Drakshyasi, you may see. Once you experience this Atman within yourself, there is no more room for any other fallacies in your mind. When you fill the bottle with completely oil, there is no room for any other thing to go inside. Similarly, the mind will be resolved in consciousness. There is no mind at all to think about the names and forms, about the world and people. Subtle body will be resolved in the consciousness. There will be only the external body, which is called gross body, living in the world. The subtle body sometimes comes out of the consciousness for the sake of the prarabdha of the jnani. Then he may deal with the people. If not, there is no mind at all, just nididhyasanam, samadhi. The next step of samadhi, nididhyasanam. Living with the vision of the truth. Responding, reacting towards the world and people with the vision what you have achieved in your life. That is been told. You will experience in this manner. Evam. What you will experience, I will say Nididhyasanam. Here Shankara says Nija Hridayastam Devam. The Lord who is residing in one's own heart. Hridayastam Devam. Nija. In one's own heart. When you say all-pervasive Lord, the location is a fallacy. You cannot give a location for an all-pervasive Lord. So I prefer Nididhyasanam. The Lord who is all-pervasive, you may get attained with the mind, and you will see that consciousness as you. Tadeva Brahma Ahamasmi. I am that. And Sarvam Kalu Idam Brahma. All these things, nothing but Brahman. And this consciousness is my only business in my life. Prajnanam Brahma. Nothing to do more after that. What about my daily life? Once you are all pervasive, Lord, free from hunger and thirst, what is the point of thinking about my survival of my gross body? Of course, it will come in a need. Yoga Kshemam will come towards you. But may one focus to the knowledge to be received from the Guru. And may one see the truth which is all pervasive and live according to the vision and see and react towards people according to the vision that you are one and the only Brahman, who is also in the form of other people, who is also in the form of stars, who is also in the other form of other animals. I am in everything, like Ishavasyam says, like Bhagavad Gita says. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mayi pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. The same slogan is echoed in Ishavasya also. He sees him in everything and he also knows that everything is inside him. He don't will go to the subject. He will not a subject of destruction. He will be a Parabrahma consciousness always in his life. As long as the knowledge is not there, there is a chance to go through the life and death circle. Once you know what is the real facts regarding the world and people and about oneself, there is no more obstacles in your life. You are free from all kinds of bondages. That last line is very important. Drakshasi nijahridayastam devam. One will see the Lord who is residing in one's own heart. Means the all-pervasive Lord, he attained through samadhi and he is now living a life according to the fact what he has received from the traditional scriptures. Hridayastam devam drakshasi. You will attain the ultimate goal. It's a blessing, actually, the last line. Now I will give the summary, each and every shloka, what it says. Just a summary. A small. The Bhaja Govindam is talking about the prerequisites and the human error. The fallacy. So most of the slogans will be sadhanas. Few slokas are talking about the goal, and most other part of the shlokas are talking about the human error going behind anatma. So the first shloka talks about the universal human error. You may be qualified, but you will not be engaged into the right thing. You may be well educated, you may have academical qualifications, you are a highly talented person, you are versatile, you can handle multiple things at a time, but you may not engage into the right goal in the life. That is the gist of the first slogan. Human error. The second sloka says, the mistakes that are committed by the human mind. Apart from the human goal, not knowing the human goal, human mind will be always engaged with the things which you have tasted in your life, which are names and forms, and which are anatma. The common mistake of a human mind. The third sloka, it talks about the natural instinct of a jiva. As a male, as a female, there is a natural instinct. I already explained how to overcome from the natural instinct. In order to correct the natural instincts, one needs to focus on the real facts regarding oneself. So he points out the natural instinct which are to be corrected in the third slogan. In the fourth slogan, he points out life is too short. You don't have enough time to do several things in your life. May one focus on the real goal. If not, your life will become too waste. You just engage in the names and forms and the life, very short life, and you will be behind the unwanted things which will not contribute anything in your life. And also the suffering of the life also told in the fourth shloka. The fifth shloka, the defects of jiva. ego puffing, due to his ego that I am this body. What are the defects he commit without knowing? That defects are being told in this fifth slogan. So pointing the ego, he want to overcome or he want to get rid of all these defects. Again, it is a continuation in the sixth slogan, We think everything will be in the right place as long as I live in this world, which is an utter false judgment. This shloka says that life is always fluctuating. After a period of time, all the prosperities will go and you are alone in your own boat. So think even right now itself and come back. If you don't do your drawbacks right now, thinking that you are a person who will be always getting happiness, you will be another suffering person in this universe. In the sixth slogan, continuation of the drawbacks of Jiva. Natural habits, Jivatva Buddhi is being pointed out in the 7, which are very strong and take away, deviate the person from the right path. So one need to come out of that. Each and every life stage will bring different types of responsibilities which are untrue, and we take it as granted and we go along with the flow. So Jivatva Buddhi, natural habits are to be corrected with a lot of effort. That is being pointed out in the 7th. May one slowly turn back to the truth is being pointed out through the 8th slogan. May one think about the real path. That is being pointed out in the 8th slogan. The steps are being slowly defined in the 9th sloka to reach the ultimate liberation, moksha. The major steps, the popular and famous steps to reach ultimate goal is being pointed out in the 9th sloka. Vairagyam is an important factor, is mentioned in the 10th chapter. If you don't cultivate Vairagya right now, the last stage without Vairagya, without all attachment, if you pass away from this world, that will bring another birth. So Vairagya is an essential factor which is to be cultivated in the younger age itself. That's been pointed out in the 10th house, 10th verse. And the 11th verse point out ego. It's warned by the Adi Shankara Bhagavad Padar. Ego is a big issue that in your life. That I am this body is called ego, that will give more and more births again and again. So may one come out of the ego-ness by getting the proper knowledge. The 12th sloka represents the Jivatva Buddhi is not very easy to wipe out. One need to put lots and lots of effort, like, our samskara impressions have very strong and deep rooted. It's not very easy. Maybe one getting an intellectual capacity to understand the things, but there will be no capacity to act upon what you have earned in your life. So Jivatva is very strong, is mentioned. Then in the next slogan, after the 12, 13. Satsanga, getting connected with the noble-hearted people, traditional teachers, is the main turning point in one's life. He emphasized on satsanga. Get into the realm of a traditional teacher. 14th sloka represents there is no external indications for a liberated person. People will be acting as a liberated person, but they may be just a role taking to come out of certain defects which they are having in their life. They are just having some external appearance, but they are not sadhus. Sadhus don't have any external indication. It's been pointed out. For a Jivan Mukta, there is no external indication. It's been pointed out in 14. In the 15th, he points out very strong errors of Jiva. Again and again, he pointing out the defects of Jiva. The desires have crucial role to molding a Jiva, one need to give up. That has been told in the 15th sloka. That has been continued into 16. You may be alone, still you can be loaded with the desires. The Jivatva is very strong, like a deep-rooted banyan tree. 16. 17th shloka talks about the sadhanas. One of the greatest sadhanas, which are easy and which are to be done in one's life. Sadhana. Sadhanas are being pointed out in the 17th. Then Vairagya is pointed out as sadhanas. One of the sadhanas are Vairagya. Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha Iha Mutra Artha Pala Bhoga Viraga. Free from all kinds of worldly things is been pointed out. And in the 19th, the ultimate happiness is Brahmanandam, the eternal happiness which you get from the eternal Brahman. You can be a king after receiving the knowledge. You can be a beggar like life after receiving the knowledge. Your eternal happiness will be there in two roles, whatever it may be you are dealing. Brahmanandam is the eternal happiness you can get through any kind of sadhanas and as the result of Atma Jnanam. And after that, you can go along with your prarabdha. He's been pointed out in the 19th. 20th verse talks about another sadhanas to be done, not to be avoided, to be taken. Sadhanas are to be taken. It's a sadhana sloka. Then the 21 talks about Jiva means all the way he is suffering without knowing his life. Life and death circle is been explained in its natural way by Bhagavad Padar Shankara. Death and birth cycle will continue if you miss the obvious right now. Then the 22 will point out the Jnani Lakshanam. Maturity, internal maturity, self-acceptance is the Jnani Lakshanam. He is free from all kinds of desires regarding names and forms. 23. May one generate the seekerhood Jijnasutvam should be generated, created in one's life in order to go in the spiritual path. 24. Truth is always bitter for a normal person. But one should accept the reality when you go through the spiritual pursuit. That's been pointed. 25. Vision of Atma Jnanam. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini. Like that, this sloka is also running on different personalities, and one vision is pointed out. Vision of Atma Jnani. 26. How to deal with the world after receiving the knowledge. The behavior of Jnani as a sadhana is pointed out. And if you don't do that, where you will reach, it is also been told in the 25th. 26. Then 27. Again, the natural habits are coming into the picture. Jivatva buddhi, which is very strong. I don't want to give up my desires. Jivata should be shaken off, shackled. And again, the jivatva comes into picture even after getting the jnana. May one exercise on jivatva, do the homework and properly and get completely destruction of jivatva is pointed out in 29. 30 is sadhana. We already mentioned it today. Sadhana. And the 31st shloka, the last shloka, the overall action to be done by a spiritual seeker, if you are qualified, is being pointed out in the 30th shloka, 31st shloka. So that's the Bhaja Govindam. We will see with another text in the next time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste, all of you. See you again. Om Namah Shivaya. Pranam.
Hari Om, Didi. Thank you very much.
Namaste, Pranam, Swamiji.
Pranam.